Ahoy, friends! You just booked your Virgin Voyages sailing, and now you're wondering, now what's next? There are 5 key steps we're going to be walking you through, which are downloading the app and making sure you're checking in. 2, we're talking about shore excursions and your final payment. 3, your brunches and dinners are what's next. Thereafter, you're looking at the agenda on the app. We got tons of key tips around that. And then you're filling out your health form. We're going to be walking you through this timeline and the next steps that you can expect coming up. Ahoy, I'm Christine Lozada.
And I'm JC, top Virgin Voyages travel agent. Welcome to the podcast.
This is the Virgin Voyages Tips Podcast, an insider guide to navigating Virgin Voyages like a pro. Find it on every podcasting platform, on YouTube, and check the show notes for additional helpful info.
And how I can get you a great deal.
Let's dive in. We are currently at Lick Me Till Ice Cream. I'm here with expert JC celebrating his top 100. So congrats again for the second year in a row. And we're so excited because this is a top question that people ask.
Yes.
And so let's start from the top, which is at which point should someone be downloading the app and checking in to get their boarding time?
Immediately. As soon as you book with me, you're going to get an email from Virgin confirming your booking. Right then, download the app. Make sure it's connected to your booking. You're going to have the booking number. But if you use your email address that you use with me, that's going to link it automatically. But if not, just have the booking number available.
Yeah, and things are always changing, so make sure you check the show notes. But the app is one that is sometimes very frustrating. So download that immediately, get all set up in it, and then you're going to go through a 7-step process of checking in. And one of the key things in there is the boarding time.
Yeah.
If you do this immediately, as soon as you've booked, you have a better chance at getting a good boarding time. And as a reminder, general boarding, depending on what kind of status you have, mega rock stars 130, regular rock stars 145 is priority. Splash romance also 145. Then general boarding for everyone else starts at 2 o'clock. And that goes until generally, it depends on your port and your itinerary, but generally goes until 4:45, depending on where you're sailing out of.
Correct.
So check in, that's your number one.
One thing to add, I'm going to mention this. If you have Splash or Romance or you have Deep Blue, you can get on early, as Christine just mentioned. So ignore the time that the app is going to give you.
Yeah.
That is very important because I get a lot of questions like, well, it shows 3:15, but I'm Splash or Romance.
One of the many reasons that the app hurts our eyeballs every time we look at it, and make sure you check out that podcast episode for even more helpful tips. The second thing you got coming up, shore excursions and your final payment.
Yep.
At which point, JC, is this happening at?
So this is at the 120-day mark. So you're going to get an email from me reminding you of final payment. Virgin's also going to remind you. As well as it's time to book your shore excursions. So when you make final payment, you can hop into the app and start booking your shore excursions.
And I would say the way I advise sailors to look at this, one of the best things about cruising is that it's easy. Is that you can figure it out as you go. You don't have to stress out about anything.
Yep.
But if you're going to a port, if you're going somewhere I really want to ride horses on the beach, or there's just something you really want to do, I encourage you to look at the shore things that are available. And don't forget, right now, the cancellation for shore things, you have up till 48 hours beforehand. Again, check the show notes, things change. But you can at least placeholder that if it's something you might want, because the saddest thing is when people come on board, realize that they didn't do anything, and that things are sold out. That's not always the case, but if there's something you really care about, go ahead and take a look at those shore excursions in advance.
Yeah, for sure.
So shore excursions is next, as well as your final payment. And then the third step is your brunches and dinners. And this is happening generally 45 days before. And actually, a lot of people get hung up on this. 45 days before, at what time? It's at midnight.
Midnight.
It's at midnight.
It is.
And
yeah.
there are a lot of dedicated people
Yes.
who are out there booking their brunches and dinner at midnight. Make sure you watch the podcast episode about strategies for booking your brunches and dinners, because we got you covered over there. All right, so that's brunches and dinners is next. And actually, if we just gave them one tip around booking your brunches and dinners, what would yours be?
Mine would be obviously to book them first.
Yes.
But I want to give this caveat to it. If you're Splasher Romance or your Deep Blue Perks, Rockstar, and you happen to get on first, Virgin opens up a lot of times at 1:30
Yes.
in the app. So when you get on, hop on that app and look at the times that they have opened up, because you might want to move your booking from 8 p.m. to 7 o'clock.
That's a great point, and we're about to talk about the schedule in just a second, but that's a key thing because the schedule changes a lot, and you might have a time that you don't love, and you have a chance to fix it. And generally, it's around 30% of all of the reservations are held until people are on board, so you really have a chance to get things fixed. So if you don't, I have been on board with no reservations at all, and I was perfectly fine. I've been on board with reservations in advance. Just know that is not the end of the world if you don't have exactly what you want. There are ways, and check out that podcast episode to get it fixed later. I would say my one tip would be I like to book brunch on sea days. It's really nice if you, especially if you're booking it in advance, to have that option to go to brunch on a sea day when you're not rushing off to go to port or you have something to do on shore that day.
Yeah. I will say that when I got on the boat yesterday, I had nothing booked.
I am the same.
But we have managed to fit into some spots, so that always works out.
Yeah, and you play it by ear. Don't forget, you're on vacation. Too many people rush around, which actually that leads into this next tip, because when you look at it, and one of the top misperceptions about Virgin Voyages is people think there's not enough to do. And so the fourth step in the timeline is to look at the agenda on the app. And so JC, talk to us about how someone can find this.
So in the app, there's an area where you can look at the agenda for the entire cruise. So it's good to have an idea of what you want to do. And there's a lot. I mean, you're going to get overwhelmed looking at that. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that I want to do. So definitely take your time, plan it out, what you want to do, and know when you get on the boat what you want to hold in the app and what you want to do for that day.
It's true. And there are two key things I have for you. One is what they will show you in the app is kind of like a sneak preview, but it's guaranteed going to change. And if you're like, oh my gosh, why? Like, one of the things I love about Virgin Voyages is the ever-changing entertainment. There's always someone new on what they call the festival stage. There's always new musicians on board. And Virgin Voyages will always cater the agenda to the talent on board. So they might change things at the last minute. And so the closer you get to your sailing, and I'm talking 2 weeks before, and then it will change a lot 1 week before, and then it will change even more once you're on board. But just having a sense of what it looks like, don't get tied to things, but just know what it looks like. And the second key tip I have for you is to understand what is and is not bookable. And so when you're pressing that little heart and adding it to your agenda, generally that's just so you know, like, yes, I was interested in this, but I'm not tied to it. The things you are tied to, your brunches and dinners that you have booked in advance. You are tied to, once you are on board, you're booking things like Grog Walk, which is a paid bar crawl. There's very few, but very fun, paid events. But these are things that you can just keep an eye on. It's helpful to know the agenda so you can know what to expect when you're on board.
Ahoy, sailors. Quick announcement from Christine popping in to remind you that the show notes or the description of this podcast has a ton of helpful info that most sailors miss. And one thing that's in there is a killer deal. There is a reason why other travel agents book with us. And even if you've already booked your sailing, it takes just 2 steps and 10 seconds to get a price comparison with us. So check the description and let's get back to the episode.
I recently did the chocolate making class.
Oh, how was it?
It was good. Yeah.
What did you do?
So they give you some tempered chocolate and then you put different things in it, and they show you how to do different things with the chocolate.
Oh, that's
kind of cool. Yeah, that's
I
cool.
like that. But I think one thing that's also important is the classes that they offer. Again, depends on the talent on board.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they'll have a foodie that's an amazing photographer, and then they'll do how to photograph your food.
Correct, yeah.
But they don't have, like the chocolate one you're talking about, I've sailed 17 times. I've never seen that before. But there are a couple you will expect to see a lot, which is, for example, grog walk. The bar crawl will always happen.
Yep.
But it's something you can just, again, like look forward to and check out once you're on board. All right, that takes us to the last step, which is your health form. What is the health form, JC?
The health form is just to confirm that you're healthy before you get on.
Exactly.
So they want to make sure you're not getting on with the flu, with COVID, anything like that. So it's literally a 30-second form that you can fill out for yourself and your guests.
Exactly. And that's happening 24 hours before you're getting on board. So if you're listening to this and you're taking tons of notes, don't forget, check the show notes, because I have supplemental blog post, for example, that outlines this timeline for you. We want to make sure we're here for you every step of the way of your planning process. So we've taken you through these 5 steps of the milestones that you can expect. Jump into our Facebook group.
Yes.
There are so many seasoned sailors and excited new sailors that are in there. And I would say the other thing, and I had to tell this to my mom, is like, take a deep breath, be excited. Everyone wants to get their vacation exactly right, but it's going to be great. Like, it's going to be great. And just be excited. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, for sure. And I always tell people to watch Christine's videos because they are so helpful. And watching those was going to give you a great sense of what to expect on board.
Oh, I love that. I will microphone cheers to that. Boom.
This has been another episode of Virgin Voyages Tips Podcast. If it was helpful, please share it with somebody. And we want you to book your sailing with us. We'd love to help you set sail because we're here for you every step of the way. A reminder to check the show notes. Things on Virgin Voyages changes all the time, and you'll find more helpful links and resources in the description. We'll see you in the next episode.